Surprise! I'm back. Time to end this suffering. I need a minute to myself. So I can drift away. You will never get to me.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Whip. I know it's been a while, but I have now returned, and I am happy to say hello to all of my faithful subscribers who have not left me, and I would like to welcome anybody else who would like to become one. Today I would like to introduce my co-host. Her name is Fox. Say hi, Fox.
Hi.
And today we're going to be discussing Michael Bisping and his very quick turnaround from George St. Pierre to Kelvin Gastelum. So we'll start with a bit of backstory. George St. Pierre had been out for 3 years or so, 4 years roughly, since he fought Johnny Hendricks in a controversial title win, in which George St. Pierre himself had won, and then he went on an extended hiatus, which, in my eyes was going to be retirement. However, he decided to come back, finally the UFC, and he came to terms on their contract, whereas George St. Pierre was trying to get paid a lot more because of the Reebok deal had taken away a bunch of George's sponsors, such as Under Armour. He's a huge Under Armour guy, but he's not allowed to wear Under Armour anymore because of the Reebok deal, so the UFC had to shell out a whole bunch of more money. Anyhow, that's not the point. He came in and he utterly dismantled Michael Bisping, rocked him in, I believe, was the second round, and jumped all over him and choked him out. Now, Michael Bisping was choked unconscious during the fight, before which time he was rocked by what I believe was a left straight thrown by George St. Pierre. After a million beautiful jabs, GSP has always had a great jab. It actually also transferred to his upstart Rory McDonald. Both of those guys jab really well, and I believe it was GSP who instilled that in Rory. Anyhow, so Michael lost his championship, lost his belt that night to George St. Pierre, and he didn't really take much damage. GSP had something wrong with his nose or something like that. He had to go to the hospital. But, Michael decided, I'm not hurt, and one of my favorite fighters of all time, probably my very favorite. Originally, I was a fan. What drew me into the sport was Rich Franklin. I thought it was awesome that he was a math teacher and that he would go out there and knock people out, beat people up and stuff. And that's how originally I got into the sport, was Rich Franklin. And then along came Anderson Silva and, Enter the Dragon. You know what I mean? So Anderson came in there and just utterly dismantled Rich Franklin, kneed him in the face like 17 times. And I was like, oh my God. And that's when I fell in love. That's when I knew that this was a sport for me. And Anderson Silva has been my very favorite fighter ever since. And, unfortunately, while scheduled to face Gastelum, Anderson Silva has failed a second drug test, which breaks my heart. And so, anyways, due to that fact, Kelvin Gastelum needs a replacement opponent. So, being as Michael Bisping was not hurt, Michael Bisping decides, okay, I'm not hurt from the GSP fight, sign me up. I'm in there. And he went in and he fought 3 weeks. It was exactly 21 days from losing his title to St. Pierre, being choked unconscious and rocked before that. He decides, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to fight again. I'm going to fight this up-and-comer. He's not that good. He is good, but he's small for the division and so forth. I'm sure Bisping was probably looking at it from that kind of point. Now, I missed this fight live, but I did watch, replays and highlights and so forth. And man, Kelvin went in there and completely caught Bisping with his chin up in the air. Now, while I do feel that is an error on Bisping's part, he bit the feint and got knocked out horribly. It was quite the knockout, and hats off to Kelvin for not following up. Kelvin knew that the fight was over. Took the ref a second to understand that. I was surprised that I believe it was Mark Goddard, and it surprised me that it took him so long to stop the fight. The fighter realized the fight was over before the ref did. Anyways, none of that's the point. What Fox and I are here to discuss is our opposing viewpoints on whether or not that fight should have been allowed. Now, Fox, what do you think about that? Do you think that Michael should have, do you think that he should have been allowed to fight?
I do, yeah. I mean, he can make his own decisions. I get that he was messed up in the last fight, but he knew what he was doing.
Now, a lot of fighters, though, have, they have this undying toughness. They a lot of times, you'll see that they're too tough for their own good. That's why the refs are in the cage, because a lot of the time, a guy will get beat up and he'll try to continue on, but the ref's like, no, dude, the fight's over. So knowing that, would you still...
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think that he can make his own decision when it comes to that. If he wants to go get messed up even more, that's fine. It's his own decision.
Now, what do you think about, the way that I look at it is that someone in an athletic commission, that's who governs this whole thing. It's whatever, if you're fighting in the state of Nevada, it's the Nevada State Athletic Commission, governing officials of the government for that state, or who oversees that, as well as their doctors. Now, you don't think that someone in a position of that power should have been able to say, Michael, you just fought 3 weeks ago, you were choked unconscious, you don't need to be fighting, you were rocked before. You don't think that they could have stopped that?
I mean, I think that they can make suggestions, but they can't force somebody to not do what they want to do. I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's up to him in the end, his decision.
And that is very tough. I think that aspect of it as well. It is indeed his decision. But I think that at the same time, the governing bodies are the people who are supposed to be telling these guys when it's time to get back in the training room, keep training, be ready for the next fight. And he's also trying. The part that really scares me about this is that he's trying to turn around and fight again in March in Manchester, and that's the fight that he wants to retire on. I think he should retire now. What do you think about that?
I agree with that. I think that he shouldn't have taken the last fight, but I think that he still should have had the ability to decide for himself if he wanted to fight or not. As with the same March fight.
So you think that if he wants to fight in March, that he should certainly be allowed to?
I think so. I mean, he's not hurting anybody except himself. If he wants to do that, that's fine.
Understood. Now, I mean, he's not hurting anyone other than himself, but he does have children.
That's not my problem.
Understood. From a watcher's point of view, it is not her problem. But do you not think that the UFC, who employs Michael Bisping, should keep those things in mind, or do you think that is entirely up to the father?
I think it's entirely up to the father. You can't, pick and choose when you get involved in people's lives,
That's true. I see what you're saying. I just think that if I had a tenured employee that was under my someone who worked for me for 10 plus years, I think that I would very much have his best interest in mind, as well as his family's, because 15 years down the line, he might not be able to eat a bowl of cereal due to these decisions now.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a great way to look at it, and that's you, but that's not how a lot of people, especially big UFC guys, look at it. They want money, so they're going to do whatever they can to get the most money out of their fighters.
Now, speaking of, I'm going to switch gears here. Speaking of making money, we have this new news that apparently Conor McGregor got in a fight in a bar in Crumlin, I believe it was, Ireland, and he is now in trouble with some gangsters. Apparently, he has fled Dublin, and then now he's just paid a speeding ticket and burned out his car on the way out of paying his speeding ticket. What do you make of all that?
I think he's an idiot, but he gets away with it, so he's being an idiot, you know.
Now this is coming from who was a Conor McGregor fan. Everybody.
I'm still a Conor McGregor fan. I never didn't think he was an idiot. He's always been an idiot. I just, you know, if you can get away with it, go ahead. An
endearing idiot. He can get away with it for now. People always ask me why it is that I dislike Conor McGregor so much. And I could see these qualities in him from when he said, "I'm going to be in the UFC. I promise you that. I promise you." I just could see his bombastic behavior, and I despise him, and I am glad that he's finally getting what he wants. Now, or getting what he deserves, rather. Now, excuse me, I have a bit of a cold, but I have this funny theory about Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey, and they now have been imbued with the Madden curse, the EA Sports cover curse. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's a fun idea, so why not just think of it? I mean, I don't know.
Nothing there on that.
I don't really care about the Madden curse.
I'm stretching on that one.
I think it's kind of BS, but you know, whatever.
I suppose. Well, I suppose that about wraps it up. Anybody, I'd like you guys to drop me some comments and likes and so forth. Just go down that comment section. Let me know what you think about. Bisping, and should he have been allowed to fight, and should he still be able to fight in Manchester in March? I personally don't think so. My co-host apparently does. But I think it's ridiculous. I think he's too old, and I think he should hang him up right now. Obviously, we're nobody to tell him. Nobody's anybody to tell him. And also, let me know what you think about Conor, man. I think that, in my opinion, with Conor, he should learn to keep his mouth shut, especially after, trying to attack a ref and all these kind of things. I also think that that's a direct tell to his use of steroids. I think that he is roided out of his mind and making very crazy decisions due to that fact. But that's just me. Oh, and Nate. Nate also thinks so. Don't you involve me with steroids. Anyways, it's your boy Whip and your girl Fox. Say bye, Fox.
Bye.
And y'all have a great day. Don't forget, like, comment, leave me some subscriptions and whatnot, and let me know what you guys think. And we'll be back next time. Y'all have a great day. It's good to be back. Peace.